Stewart is a perpetrator of intimate partner violence, a fact he's deeply ashamed of.
I'm way better than this, and it hurts.
For legal reasons, we can't show his face, use his real name or his real voice, but we can tell you his side of the story. He claims it only happened once, after he'd been drinking excessively. He physically assaulted his partner, injuring her face.
Literally the next thing that I remember was there were police there and I had handcuffs on and they drove me to the watch house and I woke up in a cell and there was police saying, "You're going in front of a magistrate this morning." I had no recollection of what I did.
Stewart is currently on bail, facing multiple charges and will be sentenced next month.
Reading on those charges, I'm like, I'm physically not capable of doing that, but apparently I was.
A vigil for victims of family violence served as a stark reminder of the pervasiveness of the problem. The statistics also paint a bleak picture. Since 2020, 11 women have died in family violence incidents in the ACT.
Absolutely tragic circumstances, and really reflects that here in the ACT we're no different to all other jurisdictions that are really challenged by these horrendous crimes.
For Canberra's police officers, responding to family violence is a big part of the job. In recent years, the number of calls made to police reporting family violence has steadily increased. So has the number of people arrested and the number of charges they have faced, from harassment and choking to assault and threatening to kill. But the Territory's top cop is clear.
It manifests itself in a range of ways, unfortunately, and I think it really is a challenge for our society as to effective responses that really cannot just only be about policing.
There's no question prevention is key. Evidence shows education about respectful relationships is a critical first step, and the earlier, the better. Advocates have long been pushing for programs to be rolled out in all ACT schools, a call which has largely gone unanswered by the Territory government.
This is a systemic issue. It's not going away, so we must act, and we need to see investment in our education curriculum.
For violent men who want to change, there are options. Counselling is available through the usual channels like Lifeline, Menslink and Relationships Australia. But it's men's behaviour change programs that are often seen as the gold standard. Here in Canberra, one-on-one and group programs are available through the Domestic Violence Crisis Service and Everyman. But their effectiveness hinges on one thing.
The key part about the success of a men's behaviour change program is the individual wanting to acknowledge and take accountability for their use of violence and the impact that it has had on somebody else or many other people.
The programs challenge values and aim to reshape beliefs. Equality, control and respect are key topics. Men are pushed to identify abusive behaviours, overcome feelings of entitlement and acknowledge that using violence is a choice.
Men's behaviour change programs are imperative. They're not a panacea. They work for some of the men some of the time, and the men definitely have to put in the work.
Family violence services across the country are chronically underfunded. Those working on the front line say Canberra is no exception. That means some calls for support from victims aren't answered, and some men who want help can't access it. That's despite ACT government funding across the sector more than doubling in the past 5 years.
We're continuously growing the funding that goes into the sector, and yet the numbers aren't going down and the violence is still occurring and women are still dying. So I think for the ACT government it's important to me to make sure that we continue to work with the experts on the ground, hear from the sector about where we need to focus our funding next.
Stewart says he's been putting in the work and will soon finish a men's behaviour change program.
I've learned how to be a different person in the best way possible.
Will you ever use violence in an intimate relationship again?
No, absolutely not.
An unequivocal answer to a question Stewart wishes he didn't need to be asked. Rosie King, ABC News, Canberra.